Muddleberg. Tom Stoltman only being able to win World's Strongest Man and not any other big competitions is not a good look. God, some of these cunts. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Thank you all to the new subscribers. Thank you all for tuning in and commenting on the previous videos. I really appreciate it. It just makes me want to do more of these. So thank you all. And as always, if you want to listen to this on Spotify, they're uploaded to Spotify as well. And that's all I have to say. I'm afraid. I hope you had a good weekend. I was actually producing, writing, singing a Christmas song, which will be available from the 1st November. I know, random, but random is my middle name. So today, guys, we're going to go through another couple of comments. We're going to go down through them. If you have any comments yourself, comment on this video, and they may feature in the next video. So let's get down to it. So Francois says, Z18 Arnolds, these guys don't know what they're talking about. He's the static beast of all time. And I'm not going to disagree with you there. I love Big Z. He is probably the best strongman of all time, only because he was so dominant. He stayed on top of a podium for, I think he stayed on top of a podium for like 20 years, and you just don't see that level of greatness in any other sport where someone has been the best in their sport for 20 years. So I'm not going to take anything away from Big Z, but static beast of all time, I don't think he really is. Though he is a static beast, I don't think he's the best of all time. Let's just go through a couple of lifts. He doesn't, like, if you're going to compare him to the best strongman in the world, let's just say Thor, Hooper. Let's just compare him to Thor and Hooper for now. Both these guys have more. Hooper has the axle record. Hooper has the dumbbell record. Hooper doesn't have the deadlift record yet, but he's a guy that's probably going to break it within the next 12 months. So if you're going to compare Z to Hooper, as much as we don't like to say it, Hooper is a far more static beast than Big Z is. So I know you're not going to disagree with me, but Hooper is probably one of the static beasts of all time. I think if he focused on the log record, he could probably take that as well, because we've seen in training he's pushed, I think, a 214 or 15 kilo log in training. And you give that guy a couple of months, he'll probably smash that record as well. It's just, we're going to have to accept that Hooper is probably going to be the GOAT of strongmen and the static GOAT while he's at it. Just his level of power is crazy. I can't fathom how there's so much power, and the guy isn't like a mass monster, like a 200 kilo 7-foot monster. He's just this 6'3", 145 kilo guy that runs. That's our static beast, and it's just hard to think that that's that this is the guy that has all the static power. I'll just tell you his genetic potential. Lee, be interested to know your views on the current World's Strongest Man show. It seems they're going backwards in regards to advertising and hype. Still is the main event for me, but others are catching up. I feel World's Strongest Man seems to be falling behind in the way they promote it now. And you're not far wrong even. I was thinking that this year at World's Strongest Man, there wasn't much hype and push behind World's Strongest Man as much as there was. There wasn't many spectators at World's Strongest Man, as many as there could be at least. Even when you compare it to last year, there was so many people at 2023 World's Strongest Man. Jesus, there was people come up to me in the street, get me to sign their ladders and their chairs and stuff. It was just swamped with fans last year. This year wasn't. I don't think it was. It was kind of a shadow of last year. I'm not even sure why. Maybe it is because World's Strongest Man didn't push as such. And in terms of them going backwards, they're not going backwards. They're not going backwards. They're just not going as forward as we'd like them to be. And all you can do is compare it. Now, World's Strongest Man, there'll never be another competition as great as winning World's Strongest Man. I don't care if it's the Strongest Man on Earth or the Rogue Classic or the Arnold Classic. Nothing will beat having a World's Strongest Man trophy in your room. So let me just say that first. But Arnold's and Rogue and Giants Live and the Strongest Man on Earth are moving forward faster and better, in my opinion, because they are live streaming the fucking thing for the fans that want to watch it, that can't come to Connecticut. They can't come to Myrtle Beach, or not that they are doing it, but you know, they can't come to the UK. They can't make a show. Every other competition has been live streamed, and I think the thing about World's Strongest Man is it's not even their fault. I think it's out of their hands, where they signed a contract with CBS and they own the rights to the live showing, and CBS just don't give a fuck enough about pushing it out as soon as possible. It's like, meh, we'll throw it out at Christmas time, which is really shit for us as well, because we want it out there as well, ASAP. But that's just the nature of it. I don't think there's anything we can do or they can do until that contract is up. And I think it's down, to the best of my knowledge, it's just down to a contract that was signed. Moving on. I just look at Tom's last World's Strongest Man performances, and exactly, this is all you have to look at. But see, a lot of people like to focus on when he does badly in a show, which is shit of you strongman fans to be doing. So, like, he got a second, a first, a second, and a first. That's Tom Stoutman's last World's Strongest Man record, which is incredible. That would put him on the Mount Rushmore of strongmen, having that sort of record. But a lot of people seem to be focusing on his performance outside of World's Strongest Man, and we just know he doesn't give it as much volume as he does for World's Strongest Man. Possibly that's something that's going to change in the future now that he's changing up coaches and stuff, that his coach will want him to push hard in all these competitions. Who knows? Who cares? As long as he wins World's Strongest Man. Moving on. So this is in regards to last week's episode, or the last episode I did, when I said if we could get every great strongman and put him in a time machine, and I did forget one of the main guys that should be there, which is Kaz. Gotta get Kaz in the time machine as well. Personally, I think Kaz is one person from back in the day that, given the modern advancement in, well, everything since then, that he would podium finisher against anyone from today. JP would be in that conversation as well, but personally, I think Prime Bill beats Prime JP all day long. I tend to agree with you. Hell, in 1988, JP was in his prime and Kaz was a furious past his best, with a lot of injuries that took a hell of a toll on him and his performances, and yet against the odds, Bill, being past his prime, nearly beat JP in his prime. A young Bill would have definitely beaten JP, and you can't go by the results in Pure String 87, as there was so much shit that pulled on Bill to make sure he didn't do well. Even Jeff had mentioned a few of them. They played dirty to beat Bill, and this is from Jeff himself. They knew they didn't have a chance if they didn't play dirty, and dirty they did indeed played. Don't get me wrong, JP was a great strongman, but Bill was on a different level. Take care, Pat. Love your videos. Thank you very much. I agree with you. Bill, as best of my knowledge, they banned him from coming back to World's Strongest Man because he was just so dominant. I don't know if there's any truth in that. But if that was the case, it was really shitty thing to do, because if that was the case, why don't we ban Hooper from all the shows? So yeah, I would definitely get Kaz in that time machine. Kaz was so statically strong beyond that time era. He was so much statically stronger than everyone else. He's like one of the biggest lifts that sticks in my mind that Kaz done is a 600-pound bench while not even really prepping for it. I think he did in his while he was playing American football. So absolutely, we'd have to have it. And you know what? I would love to see Kaz, a 2020 Kaz, if he was like born in, say, give him a couple of years, say, let's say he was born in 1995, which would make him like late 20s-ish now, and get him on today's stuff and everything else, and the advancements, and, you know, I think that is a monster. That is a monster. I'm a big Kaz fan. Hey, guys. Mitch, Jesus, Ian, you're a fucking idiot. Mitch uses tricks and cheats. His fans say he is just being smarter. Do you want to find the sneakiest strongman in the world or the strongest? God. Oh, some of you strongman fans would want a boot in the hole. Because Mitch is all about finding ways of doing events differently from everyone else just for the win. Oh my God, can you imagine him trying to win an event? That's so sneaky of him. So sneaky of you, Mitch. Stop doing stuff to try and win competitions. I don't know. Anyway, let's carry on with this cunt. Instead of doing the same thing as everyone else so we can find the strongest, if you want to find the strongest, smarter, stricter rules need to be applied for all events and competitions. I'm not going to argue with you. Mitch is a smart guy. He does find really easy ways to do things, but that's the nature of strongman, finding the best things. If you're going to argue that, one of the smartest guys I've seen in competition and competed against is Novikov. Novikov was so smart, particularly in, do you remember that fucking WOOS shows? And there was this loading event that everyone struggled on because they couldn't load the last thing onto the platform. I'll see if I can find the video. And Novikov just made it so simple, just went around to the side where the corner was and got everything stuck in that corner. He flipped it over and he smashed everyone in that event. Why? Because he used his noggin. And you can't not like someone or think they're cheating or being sneaky because they find easier ways to do stuff like this. That is nature of strongman. Find the easiest way. But yeah, Mitch is so sneaky because he finds easy ways to do it. Silly cunt. Muddleberg. Tom Stoltman only being able to win World's Strongest Man and not any other big competitions is not a good look. God, some of these cunts. Especially after the certain phone call with Luke Stoltman where it seems like they were getting some special treatment from the guys that run World's Strongest Man and Giants Live. I can tell you now, no one gets special treatment from them. I know the phone call suggested that if I remember correctly, that if Luke started doing shows, he would get better places at World's Strongest Man, better positions. And that is true, but that's true for everyone. And what that meant was, if you do a Giants Live show, and if you win Europe's Strongest Man, for argument's sake, it goes by seeding. So if you don't do any Giants Live, and you get a wildcard invite, you're going to be a bottom seed, you're going to get a shitty arse group, you're going to be stuck with 2 elite athletes. If you do a Giants Live and you win one of their shows, you get a top seeding, which means you'll be either in first or second seeding, which means you're going to get a far better group. So in that phone call, Luke said that Colin said that if he does more Giants Live, it will favour against him betterly. It was totally taken out of context. All that meant was if Luke does more competitions and places better and podiums and wins those competitions, he will get a better position at World's Strongest Man naturally, the same way it is for everyone else. Like Evan Singleton winning all Giants Live gets a far better seeding because he does well at other competitions. There's no sneakiness to that shit. That was just completely taken out of context. Now that said, move on. Aaron Gobra. The only event Mitch is weak in is stones. Even though he's good at stones, he's not one of the best like Tom and Trey. But knowing Mitch, he'll practice the stones to that and become one of the best in time. I've no doubt about that. But even at that, look back at 2022. Was it 23? He won World's Strongest Man. And all the good stone lifters there are World's Strongest Man. You had Brian Shaw, Tom Stoltman, Trey. Everyone there is a good stone lifter. Mitch came second in the stone off at World's Strongest Man in 23. And Tom won the event, but Tom only beat Mitch by a couple of seconds. And in that, Mitch beat Brian Shaw, who we all know is one of the best stone lifters of all time. He beat Trey Mitchell, who's one of the best stone lifters of all time. So Mitch's stones aren't that bad. And if you're going to call him weak in stones, you're incorrect. He's not weak in stones, because the cunt isn't weak in anything, because he's a fucking alien, the cunt. If you could cast a TV show like The Strongest Man in history, which 4 strongmen would you pick? I can only pick guys that I would get on with. I was kind of thinking about this earlier. And guys I get on with are naturally guys with, they're kind of giddy and funny and good personalities. And to me, the guys I'd pick would be, I would pick Eddie Williams, obviously. He's a good sport. I would pick Tom Stoltman because he's a funny cunt as well. I would pick Luke Richardson because even though you kind of get this serious fella behind the camera, he's actually a funny cunt. And I would pick, who would I pick for the 4th guy? God, it's a tough one. Maybe Graham Hicks, because he's also a funny cunt to be around. And me, so we'd have to make it 5. Nolan. Nothing's more annoying than when people talk about all-time great strongman and Eddie is included. He's not even top 20 of all time. For fuck's sake. These comments are just filled with a lot of them are hate. Now I do tend to pick out the hate ones. I tend to leave out the positive ones because there's not much of a reaction to a positive comment, is there? Only thank you very much for your comment. Anyway, that doesn't take away from his insane static strength, but he wasn't a lead strongman. You're fucking wrong, you cunt. To win World's Strongest Man, you have to be an elite strongman. You can't be good at strongman, or you can't be a great strongman. You have to be an elite strongman. He also beat a prime Thor when he won World's Strongest Man. He beat a lot of prime athletes at that time. He beat a prime Lysis. Do you know what I mean? And he's not an elite strongman. You can take your little comment, right? And I want you to scrunch it up into a little tiny ball. Little ball just like this, and you can make it nice and round so it fits up your hole nice. Thank you all, guys. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you later.